Wednesday at 12 p.m. PST or 1 p.m. MST. You know, you all know the rest of it. Hi, Benson. How you doing?
Hi, Corey Ann. Nice to see you.
Nice
We
to see
uh we
you.
just got to meet each other for the first time at the Astro Flipping Mastermind in Phoenix this last week, which was amazing. I got to meet Natasha in person as well for the first time, and a lot of the other team members as well. It was really cool. It was awesome. Had a lot of fun.
I did too. And I think it's extra funny that we live in the same state and we had to go to another state to meet each other.
I know, isn't it hilarious?
Yeah, it
Well,
really
we
is.
might as well be like a state away anyway, just because of where you're at and where I'm at physically. But
The
yeah,
East
that's sometimes
Coasters don't
how it works
understand.
out. So
Yeah, and I got
you
a
had a good
Privy
time as
shirt.
well? Yes. We got you a t-shirt finally. That's awesome. So what was your biggest takeaway? What was the your favorite part? You know, there's favorite and then there's like most valuable part too. They don't necessarily have to be the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great delineation. I'm glad you asked that. And this was my absolute first mastermind, so I really didn't know what I was getting into. But I knew that it was going to be life changing. So I had a few intentions going in, and I feel like I left with like those intentions times 10. And I have, you can actually see, this is my mastermind book, everybody. And I filled almost half of it with all sorts
Wow.
of notes. So I'm still going through and like re-highlighting and kind of making sure that actually implementing those things. But I would say that the most valuable part I took away was definitely in the more spiritual aspects. Like we had some intense meditations, and I've never sat still for over an hour to listen to myself. So some things came up in that, and I'm learned a lot. It was just really fun to do that. How did you feel about the meditation?
That's the first time I was ever able to like I would call it like transcend,
Mm,
while doing meditation. Normally it's just for me, it's like a relaxing thing. And sometimes I'll even fall asleep, right? Because it's so quiet and you're in like this comfortable space and it's about, slowing down. But the way that Jamil did it for me, I think helped. One was the breathing exercise, right? So he did we did it for 5 minutes, which was hard to do
very
it.
hard. My
Oh
notes.
yeah, it was a challenge, right? But by the end too, like all that oxygen, like
Mhm.
it definitely gives you like a buzz. Like I was feeling a buzz. It was like being on some drug. I don't even know. Um, and so that was cool. And then doing the meditation for an hour, I got to relax. I was able to focus more on my breathing, and I definitely went someplace else, which was the very
Mhm.
first time that ever happened to me.
Wow, that's amazing. I absolutely love that. I feel similar. Like there were a couple of times where I was like struggling with that, like struggling to sit still and struggling to be in that space. But yeah, that was a huge takeaway for me. And I think when I was doing the meditation, what I took away, and I that I could put into words is that values, and deciding on your values is so important in life and business for
Yeah.
your own happiness and your own stability. Because you put a list of values in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, all of them. Thank you. I
Right.
want balance. I want this. I want that. But ultimately, to make easier decisions in my life and business, I have to say, no, what are the top three? Like what
Right.
has to stay still? And I've actually caught myself going against those in the last couple days in regards to what I really want my decision making to be. And it's been so enlightening. I'm like, oh, if I answer like something maybe more derogatory to myself to lift somebody else up, really what I'm doing there is I'm more trying to address my desire for people to like me. When that's not my highest value. Like that's definitely not in the top three, but it was
Right.
what caused that decision making. And family would be more important. So actually like prioritizing myself so I can show up for my family, I could see how I could change my decisions and my day to day to do that. So like I would tell everybody on this call, like, please decide for yourself what are the top three values that you like hang your decision making on.
Oh yeah. And where can you compromise too? Like there's a way of compromising that doesn't compromise your ethics and your morals, right?
Mhm.
So like compromising on, okay, well, I'm gonna really like I'm gonna grind for the next year. Right. So maybe you're not putting as much time in other things because you're focused on business. Maybe
Mhm.
you're not as, great on health and fitness that for that time period, or you're not, getting home for every single dinner with the family, but there's some balance there still. So that was a pretty cool piece of it as well. um there's just so many different aspects. Like I think that Jamil really brought in some very cool, I guess, experts in their industry. I learned some stuff from like the person who was talking about business credit. Like that,
Mhm.
there's was some enlightening things I want to get into that for my business. And then the meditation was huge for me too. But overall, it was just great to hang out with people. Right, Jamil really took care of us with the food and the places we went to go eat, and really put together a good environment where everybody was like wanting to be together, not as clicky, where people are like
Yeah.
breaking off and doing their own thing. Like everyone was kind of just together, and that was cool too.
Like he said, our all everybody in that room is divinely connected from that meditation, and that actually spreads out into our community, even beyond that, to our Astro community and to the people here that we see every week. And so, if you're feeling energetic shifts, we've been carrying you all along, y'all in the chat.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the other like big thing for me was how some people who like are huge in my eyes. Stephen Trang was there, like king of sales. Dolmar Cross, HGTV star,
Mhm.
and they were so chill. I didn't really recognize who they were until like along the way. Because I sat down on my meditation and Dolmar Cross came and sat down next to me. He was like, "Hey, I'm Dolmar." And he's so cool. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm Corianne. Who's your pretty lady?" And I was like, just engaging with him like I would any friend. And then right after the meditation, he goes up to talk about AI. And I went, Dolmar Cross. Oh my
Yeah,
God. But he's so chill.
he totally was. Yeah, there was a lot of people there that were big, right? Like obviously, Pace does a lot of stuff with Jamil, but I mean, those two guys in the same room, like the top people in the industry, were in that room with us. It was awesome. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
Everybody here, make sure you're marking your calendars for April of next year, because that's when the Squat Up Summit's going to be, and that is going to replace the mastermind. So I hope to see you all there. He brings through just some of the most crazy speakers. I don't know who's going to be there in April, but I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. So you guys definitely have to be there. This is the last mastermind, but the next event that Pace and Jamil are doing together is going to be huge. It's going to be bigger in every aspect. So try to be there. So what do we got going on today? What's the plan?
I'm glad you asked. So, we are going to let the chat do a lot of controlling in terms of where they want to see us implement Privy anywhere in the United States. I'm very curious. Chat, you can go ahead and start dropping. Like, what area should we start to dive in and show Privy? And then I'm open to any addresses that somebody drops, us going in there and comping for them. And I can even call the agent if they're interested in that. So a lot of it is like, we have the knowledge. What questions do you have? Because we want to get you through the hump. It is hump
Yep.
day, and there's always little speed bumps in wholesaling. And I think one of the hardest things is to make the decision. So today I'm hoping we can help people make the decision and keep moving, not to stall.
Yeah, I already see a really good question that came right as we were getting started. And Fidel is asking, where is the best place to start if you're outside the US?
Mhm.
And so I think that is a common problem. There was even people in the mastermind that were still trying to choose their market. And so Fidel, there was some good advice from Jane saying in major metropolitan cities, she likes the southern cities. But in the wholesale world, what I would recommend is being in an area that has high investor activity. So where you want to be, where the comps are at, where you're going to have the data that you need to be able to more easily prove after repair value. you'll be able to learn that market better because there's people that have done it before you, other flippers, wholesalers, landlords. And so you can research that investor activity to become an expert and never even have to set foot there. The other thing I would do, Fidel, is I would try to be in an area that has blue on this coverage map here, because those are the areas that have that direct to MLS data. And so you're going to have more rich photos, you're going to have more information, agent info, more updates more regularly. The data is updated several times per hour. So I would try to be in a blue area here in the map. And then
per hour, that's impressive.
Yeah, well, with those direct to MLS data feeds, like it's an open pathway, so they're just pushing data to us in real time. And then the areas where it isn't blue, like in Wyoming, those update a few times a week. But same as like you would find in like the prop stream or Batches or something like that. But Fidel, what you want to do is see where the blue is, have some areas that you like, and then click this button over here. And that will put on the map all the investor activity. And then you can be like, all right, cool. Well, I liked Dallas Fort Worth, right? Because it was blue. And this blue is represents something different. This is investor activity. And so you can come in and you can see like, there's quite a bit of activity here. So large circles, high numbers is what you want.
I actually have maybe three. But it definitely 2 Dallas addresses where people are interested. I'm trying to snag them out of the chat as fast as possible.
Okay.
So once you kind of show an area, but I think Dallas is a great one.
Dallas is a good hot area. It's one of the hottest ones in the country. It's definitely the hottest one in all of Texas. But also too, the good thing to know about the Texas market is it's a non-disclosure state. So non-disclosure states make it more difficult for us as investors to do comping because they don't publicly show the price, and you certainly don't have photos in most cases. So that's one of the benefits of choosing an area that has direct to MLS and has high investor activity. So what you want to do is you want to drill down into the market where that you've chosen, and it isn't just all of Dallas; it's specific neighborhoods. So see, there's a hot pocket right here. And there's a pocket up here where there's some good activity. And the goal of choosing a hot area like this is that you want to be able to, once you're searching for leads that you can go buy, whether they're off market or on market, you can use these flipped houses. These are all flips to prove after repair value. So you'll know a better ARV. You'll be able to more easily calculate what your offer should be. You're going to be able to offer more to people who have distressed properties that are down the street from these renovated houses. So those create the margins. That's how I would start off. And so you got an address here. Do you want to comp it out?
Absolutely. And just a reminder to everybody on YouTube and here in the Zoom that this community, we take care of each other. There is so much abundance in properties. So if you're seeing an address and it didn't come from you, please don't take any action on that. We're here to help the person that dropped that address, but bring anything that we can help you on. And just a reminder, there's abundance everywhere. So let's do 4612 Garland Ave, Dallas. There it is, that second one.
Avenue.
Just a reminder, guys, we just found a market that has investor activity. We already know what neighborhoods are hottest, and all of that just happened on Privy like this. So if you don't have Privy yet, I highly, highly suggest it. And you can do that with our promo code, DAMG, one of my favorite last names. If you put that in there, you're going to get 30% off the annual plan or 20% off your first month if you go the month-to-month route. Let's check this sucker out.
Awesome. Look at this place. This is a mess. Look at there's no flooring. It's just the subfloor.
Oh my goodness.
So they probably pulled the carpet up. Maybe there was a water issue. That's usually what causes something like that. This place has a lot of work that needs to be done, but these are the kinds of properties we love, right? If there's no value to add, then it makes it really difficult to make the numbers work.
Absolutely. You want to be able to build equity, not have to wait for it. So that's why we want to find something that's ugly. This is perfectly ugly in every way, but I can already tell you that it's been sitting on market for 46 days. So 209 is not the right number, depending on when it took that.
Exactly. Yeah, and so, I wanted to loosen this up a bit because this looks like this is a smaller house for the area. So we didn't have a ton of comps right out of the gates. And the comp that we did have was north of the highway. So we want to try to stay on the south side of this highway. So we're going to use the drawing tool here, upper right-hand corner, and then we can click and hold, and we'll redraw this comp zone here so that we're staying on the south side of the 30. And then it looks like there's another cutoff here. And this is kind of where the box was prior. So now we're just kind of limited to this one area. But again, everything here is so much larger.
Wow.
It makes it challenging. And some of it's newer too. Like we wouldn't use this one, it's just too big. So we'll hide that. This one, too big. And almost all this stuff is just, that one is probably within reason. That one is within reason. This one's too big. So after we get rid of all of the homes that are too big and we loosened the criteria up a bit, we're seeing this house at 188 and this one at 153.
The 188 one, is it, can we click on that one and see how pretty it was?
Yeah.
I always forget about that eye over on the left-hand side. What I do is I click on it and I scroll up and scroll over. I got to use your buttons.
So this one's sold off market. We have this little link here. So if you're in a third-party area or if there was an off-market sale, we actually pull this link in here that says view external listing. That actually will search the internet to see if there's any other old listings out there, or, oh, look at this. That's the street view.
Oh, what a street view.
Yes. So this was an off-market sale.
So many bad jokes.
I don't know how that happens. That's so weird.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if it's an agent or something like that.
Could be. But that was the Redfin listing. So this one here was off market. So we can't tell if it was pretty or not because there's no photos associated with it. And this one on Foley, another off market deal. So it's kind of hard to tell on this one what ARV is because there's not a ton of like investor activity that's similar to this small house. People are flipping in that area, but it's mostly larger homes.
Yeah.
So what would you do on this one, Corianne?
I would pass. It's been sitting on market for 46 days. It's got a lot of work to do, and the ARV is not only hard to find, but there's not a lot of investor activity. So when I look at something like that, I know that even if I get it negotiated, the going to find the buyer might be the harder part. So I would have a conversation with the agent. We would chat about how 209 is definitely not the right price. This is a really small property for the neighborhood. I would just basically give them all the reasons I'm not the buyer. And then I would let them maybe try to convince me, because ultimately, sell me on why you want my money is how I want to approach that conversation. Because there's other properties that I could go buy.
Yeah.
They need my money more than I need a house.
Convince me. What about this from like a creative aspect? Would this make sense from like a creative deal structure?
Can we look at the public records? I want to know what we might have going on in mortgage history, and then I'd be able to know how we could potentially approach.
Don't have a mortgaged, don't have mortgage data on this one.
Okay. That can be a conversation that you have with the agent. You can ask, is there a mortgage on this property? And if they say no, then the next thing is, well, has the seller ever considered seller financing? And a conversation about seller financing with an agent is really more a conversation about what does your seller need and where are they going after this? Because if they need money down to buy a different property, then a seller financing might not be the right play for them. If this is a property where maybe the family member passed away and somebody else is like, this is just my third, fourth like this is in a different state. I don't have to think about it. They might be more than happy to take on a monthly getting paid seller financing situation.
Yeah. Only thing about this one too is it's not turnkey, so you'd have to put some money into it to get it rental ready.
Yeah.
So there's some out-of-pocket costs there. Maybe you can work in a seller credit, to
Mm-hmm.
do a little bit of repairs, but I mean, it would take some money, 10, 15 to 20,000 minimum, just minimum to, put some flooring in there and clean some stuff up. So this
Mm-hmm.
one's a challenge. This one's definitely a challenge all around.
I would just like as a flat comp ARV though, I put it at about 180, 200 if you put in the elbow grease. It just might not be the right play for what our most buyers are looking for.
Yep. All right, I found this other
Okay.
one. This is in Texas as well, but it's not Dallas. Did you have another one in Dallas?
I do have another one in Dallas. It's 426 Glen Drive. Let me get this one spelled
426.
again. And then we
Glen
can go to the other one in Texas. Maybe Bebop.
is it two words? Glen Carroll?
It's one word and it's I'll spell it for you. GLENCAIRN. Karen, right? I call that Glen Karen. I don't know.
426 GLENCIR.
CAI.
Oh, here we go. I found it.
Uh-huh. Anthony, I see you making fun of me. I don't know how to say the word. You
So,
can find me on IG and tell me.
good size Rambler. It looks like it needs, a cleanup on the exterior flooring. Everything needs to be replaced inside. Nice open floor plan though.
Mm-hmm. Don't have to take out many walls.
4-2. Looks like original cabinets. Investor opportunity as is. Okay. So there's several flips in the neighborhood. That's positive.
That's great news.
Um, this one right here is the closest one that was flipped. Let's see.
Would you be willing to hit in settings, investor only and all? I'm curious if that kind of like, what that brings up.
Yeah.
It's my favorite setting.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of flips going on here.
Okay, so we're looking for a 4-2. Yeah, the Greenspan is a good one. The Shady Way Drive is a good one. Can
Looks
we
like
look at the Shady Way Drive?
mm-hmm. 4-2, 1788. Yeah, very similar house. Could even be the same builder. But that's the top of the market for this one on the ARV.
Absolutely. Will you go to before and after? I'm curious, did they buy it really ugly or just kind of ugly?
It was an off-market acquisition.
For 200, that would be 68%. Okay. Let's look at the other one that was a little bit more reasonable in its pricing. Wait.
Oh, this is another Shady Way. That one went for 280.
Wow, they designed it. They were coming for flair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they got this one for 175, sold for 280. They're at 63%. So right, two of those in the low 60s, that seems to be kind of the neighborhood trend.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think you want to say 290, just kind of average those two.
Yeah, I would absolutely land in that range because ultimately I rather my ARV be a little bit below what my buyer could find. So my buyer could come back and go, "Ooh, I found this one property at 300K." and I know about that property at 300K, but for them, they're like, okay, this might be an even better deal than the good deal you're giving me. So the 290 is spot on. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
So if we go in at 60%, because those other two were at like 63 and 62, something like that, we're at 174,
That's
which
it. Okay.
is huge drop, right? Like this is 21 days on the market. It's going to be another 21 days at least.
You can tell I'm a wholesaler when somebody is like $60,000. That's a huge drop. And I'm like, yeah, people take drops like that all the time, depending
Yeah.
on the situation.
Do you want to talk to the agent on this one?
Heck yeah, I want to talk to the agent on this one.
You want to try to find it? It's Alex Lazcano.
Alex, say that again for me. Was what?
Alex Lazcano, Lazcano. My Barca says that currently trying to get a 60K retrade on that. Perfect.
Oh, nice. All right, I'm curious. That must mean what are you trying to get it at? Did you get a buyer to lock it in? Like the price that they'll purchase at? I'm very curious if we align here. Because if we're getting it under contract around the 175 range, then we're probably pushing at like 195, maybe 185. That's where I would want a buyer to pick up. So tell me, did you get a buyer and at what? Uche is in the building. Hey, Uche. Oh man, I'm just gonna stare at that chat because I really want to know. But we could move on to another property then to call, because if she's got this under contract, I'm not gonna
Okay.
mess with the agent.
Cool. Well, let's check another market here. I thought I saw one. Here's one in Nashville from Titus.
Cool. I love Nashville. Take me away.
Nashville's always crazy. 309 Matthews. Looks like a good sized lot. It's almost 10,000 square feet. House needs everything. It's all original. Grandma's house, right?
Mm,
So 330. Good amount of sales in the area. That's positive. Look at all the solds. Let's see here. There's some investor activity. That's good.
yeah. Nashville is such a good market right now. And I think it was one of our first conversations about Privy, maybe like the first time I was a guest on here with Emily. And yeah, you had pointed out how hot Nashville was. And I went there and I actually have a couple deals closing soon.
Nice. Look at some of these numbers, right? So this one here, it's a 3-2. Ours is only a 2-1.
Oof.
I doubt it doesn't say there's a basement, so you're not going to be able to put in another bedroom and bathroom. So you're going to have to make some adjustments because it looks like this one for 40, it's a 2-2. What do you value a bathroom at, Corianne?
Oh, I need to pull up my exact appraisal rules. I normally use 10K, and I'm pretty sure that's what Jamil's appraisal rules are.
Yeah.
Natasha, if you have those and can drop them, that would be awesome because I'd love to be able to just click and pull those up. But yeah, I say 10K, but if we're like bathrooms are kind of more important in regards to the jump from 1 to 2. So if I'm looking, I'm really trying to stick to a 2-1. Or if I'm looking at a 3-1, I'm trying to find comps that are a 3-1. And because adding a bathroom is a lot of cost
It is.
for a buyer.
Yeah, so it's probably 15K, especially in this price range here. I mean, this is a higher price point, so 15 is probably more appropriate. So like the adjusted after repair value on this house on Backstreet, guys, is right around 465. So 465. This one's a 3-2 at 588. So we're taking away a bedroom and a bathroom. So that's 45,000 or 35,000 down. I mean, so that would bring this down to like 550.
Yeah, but a 3-2 going from a 2-1 to a 3-2, I would almost just, I would personally toss that.
Oh, you wouldn't do, well, an appraiser would use this as a comp. It's just
Interesting.
one fewer bedroom and one fewer bathroom.
Okay, I'm on board. Benson, you're the pro.
No, I
Um,
mean, I think that's fair for sure. Like it's not like this is a five, 5-4, which we would throw it. But if it's only one extra, plus or one is fairly common. Plus
mhm,
one, plus or minus one,
mhm.
or bedrooms and bathrooms. So so that
We
one
keep
really pulls it
going
up.
down. Okay.
So what do you think the ARV is? Seeing these three flips, where would you put it at?
Personally, I would probably put it at 460. And to anybody that's questioning that, I'm not looking at the 1998 comp. I'm not, it's not the right year. It's not close enough for me.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at 480. Well, I guess the 588 did sell more recently. If you
Yeah,
open it up,
I just
you
sold a
might
few
have
days
different
ago,
things.
a week ago. Oh wow, they really spruced up the exterior as well.
The next thing I would like, clearly it's going to be beautiful on the inside. So what's the before and after? What did it look like? 270.
Wow, they really did it up.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like the same house. Um, so this is one of those moments, and Rocky brings this up a lot in his leadership calls, where like you can never truly know the ARV because it's going to matter the finishes and where that buyer wants to take something. So I could already guess that if a buyer wanted to take our property to a 550, 560, they probably could if they wanted to add the bathroom and put all of that work into it. um I want to know buy price more than I need to know that ARV, because my buyers are going to come and tell me that ARV. And right here, this 270 is kind of exactly what I would want to pass this off to my buyers at,
Hmm.
um, because it's already on market at 300. Remember, my job is to bring value. So I can't push something out to my buyers at the exact list price. Um, It is good that they listed it at 330, but it's been at 330 for 65 days. The longer
Yep.
it's on market, the lower I need to go so that I can make sure there is room and value for my buyers. So I would offer 250. And I wouldn't just call them and go, the house is worth 250, because they're not going to like that. But
Yeah.
I will call them and be like, like, where do you think we could take this property? Oh, but it's going to need a lot of work. And, how have people responded to that 330? So that you can kind of draw out whether or not they would be interested in hearing your number. But this is one of those moments where I don't give it unless they're begging for it. It's like
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
I hold a treat out, like, well, I can buy it cash easy 15 days, but you might not like my number.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and this one here, it was under contract for a bit, and then it fell out. So that maybe there's an inspection issue. That would be a question I would ask the listing agent too. I'm not sure if
mhm.
you ever do that, but like you'd be like, "Yeah, it was under contract." Do you leverage that too, like price reductions and status changes when you're talking to agents?
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm not so much leveraging it for pointing to it and going, that's why you should take my lower number. I'm leveraging it in their pain points that they had to go through that. That it like it, ultimately they thought they were getting a paycheck and then that fell away. And, how can I help them get this off of their books? Because I'm sure they want to get paid before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Um, I just got the appraisal rules. Thank you, Mark, for dropping them. I also have the new 2023 one, and it's 25K for a bathroom, 10K for a bedroom. And those I would agree with that. Like you
That
need
sounds
a lot
totally
more.
backwards to me.
Really?
Yeah.
But the bathroom's so important, especially in that jump from 1 to 2.
I used to do BPOs for banks, hundreds of them,
Mm.
and the bathroom was always less. Maybe things have changed,
Mm.
but in Colorado, we used to do 20K for a bedroom and
Mm-hmm.
10K for a bathroom.
Sweet. Okay, that's great.
But
Um,
those are the rules. Those are what that if that's what Jamil's putting out there, then that's what the group should use.
uh, I keep seeing people ask me to go back and call that Texas property because it's not the one that you have under contract that our friend does. So I'm trying to see if I can find that agent.
Oh, okay.
I told everybody I'd be their puppet, so if they want me to call that agent, I'll do it.
So do you remember the address?
I do, I think. That was the Glen Karen one, I believe, the one I didn't know how to pronounce. 426 GLEN.
There we go.
That's the one, and I've got her number right here, so we can rock and roll.
Alex, is it a woman?
Yeah, it is.
All right. Alexandria.
Mhm.
Hi, this is Alex.
Hi, Alex. My name is Corey Ann. I was just looking at your 426 Glencairn Drive. Is now a bad time for me to pick your brain?
No, not at all.
Wonderful. I'm thinking I might be the right buyer, but I'm not sure at that price. So I have a couple questions. How does what's going on with the bones? I mostly want to know HVAC, roof, electric, those kinds of things. Or is this just going to be cosmetic for me?
It's mostly cosmetic. I don't have knowledge on the roof. I just know all systems are in good working order. HVAC, interior really just needs new flooring, paint, cabinets, like very simple rehab.
Mm-hmm.
I can send you the seller's disclosure for your review. But the current owner had it leased for the last 5 years. Tenant just moved out a couple months ago, so he's just ready to move on from the property. But bones are good, structure's good, foundation was repaired when he first purchased the property about 5 years ago. He just does not have a transferable warranty on it. So structure, bones, all is great in the property.
Okay, but could I see the work that was done? Can I get like receipts on that? If we go under
I
contract?
can ask him for it. I don't think he didn't give me any paperwork. He just said he did repairs. He has contractors that work for him. So there's no paperwork that I can provide you with. I just know that he did the work. So you can definitely get an inspection done and check it out for yourself.
Okay.
I can send you a seller's disclosure if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm interested in taking a look at that. I am curious, do you already have some offers on the table?
I have two that we received today. One he's considering countering. He's still reviewing it at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Every offer we received has been, I'm going to be honest with you, we've received about 12 on the property. He's not accepting anything with a number one on top. It's got to be in the twos for him to even consider it. I do realize you may want to offer under what we're asking, but my recommendation to you is to not offer below 200.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't want to waste my time, and I'm sure you don't want to waste yours if my numbers aren't getting to that place. I like just taking a glance at it, think that I'm probably just shy of that 2 number. All cash can close quick, but it sounds like you've seen those before and it's an immediate no for you.
I'm happy to present any offer. So if you wanted to send me what your terms are, I'll send it over to him and see what he says.
Okay. Would you be willing to represent me in the transaction?
Yes.
Okay, great. And the other thing I'm curious on, because if you got a lot of offers on this, I don't personally like to go into bidding wars. I have too many properties and I'm always buying them, so I don't need that headache. Do you happen to have any off markets or perhaps even uglier properties that I could look at?
This is the only one I've got at the moment.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'm going to send you my card so that we can stay in touch. And then if you do have anything off market, I would love the opportunity to look at it before you list.
Sure, of course. Just let me know what your offer turns out. I'm happy to give him a call and let you know what his thoughts are.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate your time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Cool.
Nice. Very, very
So-
nice.
I hope that was helpful to especially the people who really wanted to hear it. Yeah, she's got a lot of different offers she's saying, and she says I have to have a 2 on top.
Right.
For me, that's something where I need a good relationship with an agent to get them in a place where I can have a 1 in front and they still want to push my offer. And that's going to take a little bit of time with her. And ultimately, I always want sellers to get what they want. So if they've got people giving them 2s on top, then good for them. I'm going to go find another property.
Yep. Okay. Well, nice work. You got some kudos in the chat.
Oh, thanks, guys. I saw somebody who capitalized the word please on a Jacksonville property. Ah, Cassandra, I got you. Can we go look at Florida?
Yeah, I think let me find that property. Where's that address? There it is. Can we please? Okay, so that's in Dock Cider.
Yeah, Dockside Drive.
Yeah, I saw another one too. Gail, I thought you posted something for Jacksonville at some point. Well, let's do this one first. So again, you guys, I'm just putting it here. Sorry?
I do have another address there. I put it in my notes, so we can do that one after.
Okay. So I copy and pasted this, you guys. So if there's a match, it'll come down in the drop down and you want to choose it from the drop down. That's what goes and matches it to the Google housing database. And here's Docksider. So the last sale was in 2019. So it's currently off market, but because it was an MLS property, we have the photos. So good size home. Needs some work. I feel like I've seen that house. I've seen that kitchen before. That's weird.
It's clean.
Yeah, I remember that kitchen.
It's in a good area. That's one of the zip codes that people like to pick up in. As you can see, look at all that blue.
Yeah, there's a lot of, well, it does a lot of activity too. So what this means is there's a lot of similar houses in the area. So like there's lots of, 4-2, 1,500 square foot ranches in this neighborhood. That's what we want. There's also some fix and flip activity.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Bunch of properties that sold. This one went for 336. That's on Indian Walk Road. This one for 310, 405, 399. So these are all flips. So you guys see that this is the light gray with the area to the black. Those are houses that we've identified as potential flips because they jumped up in value so much. And this number here that you see, 63, 69, 52, that's the ask price of this home divided into the black one. So 213 is 63% of 336.
Guys, in case you didn't catch that, because I just want you to catch this, that you can see the general buy prices of an area just by having this, because what we're seeing is, they bought it this a while back, then they flipped it and they sold it on the other side for a higher number. What was the percentage they bought at when they bought? So that's 66, 65, 63. When I'm actually calling those buyers, I'm asking, I'm like, hey, are you still buying around 63%? I can see that's, roughly where that property came in. And I'll get very quick responses as to whether or not they even do their math that way. They might be like, no, I don't care about that, but here's what I do care about.
Right. Yeah, one thing I do want to clarify something though, Corianne. So the 52% is not the ratio between 234 and 405. It's 213 compared to 405.
Got you. Okay.
And
Still,
so
that gives you important data.
it does. But if we want to know what they bought this one on Indian Walk on, then we look at the before and after section in the CMA for that house. So now we can see they bought this one at 58% of the ARV. So the percentage for the specific comp we're looking at is down in the before and after section.
Okay, good. I'm glad you clarified that.
And that other number had to do with our purchase price of our subject. So this
if
buyer
you're
here,
taking that as the ARV number. So basically, if you're like, hey, I see this as the ARV, it's already telling you the price that they might be asking if it was an MLS deal, what that percentage is.
right?
Cool. I'm tracking with you.
So
Guys, if you don't have Privy, I highly suggest it. And we already have a promo code. It's been dropped in the chat by the lovely Natasha. If you use that promo code, DAMG, you get 30% off the annual plan or 20% off the first month if you go that route. That gives you this data. There you go.
mm-hmm. And if you're building your buyers list, you guys remember, you're going to look at the people who bought the property, fixed it up, and then sold it. And that's Catamount Properties 2018 LLC. So they're an active buyer in Jacksonville in this area. And with a simple search on open corporates and then true people search, you'll be able to find a phone number, somebody you can talk to, and then you can reach out to them and get them on your buyers list.
Can we go back to the subject? I got lost on what its stats are. 4/2/1500, 1979. 4/2/3. Yeah, these are. I like that 405. It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's extremely close, and it has one fewer bedrooms than our house. The subject. It's built in the exact same year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is priced really well.
Will you hit my favorite?
Oh wait, this isn't the price. I'm sorry, this is not the price. This is an off-market property.
Yeah, so we have no idea what the actual asking is, but I still want to try to get to ARV so we can mostly get to MAO, because Jacksonville is pretty unless you're dealing with water damage. Like if you're dealing with water damage, then the numbers drop, like you're closer to 50%, but most of the time they're going to be between 58 to 62%, depending on what the photos of the inside of this look like. So I would roughly run this at 62% once we get to that final MAO. Will you do investor and all on under settings?
Yeah, I wanted to point out something real quickly here, since the one we're like leaning on, it was the 405 on Indian Walk. I thought for a moment maybe this one was on the water. It's not. So that's a good thing. That this house is 405 and it's not on the water like ours isn't.
Exactly. Something to definitely keep in mind in Florida. There's two things in Florida that are like the end all be all. Do you have access to water? Meaning like I can park my boat and go out and those kinds of things. And then the other is this a wood frame or is this a block build? Because if you are looking at a wood frame property, you cannot pull a comp that's a block. Seen a lot of people go south that way.
This is that other comp.
Kyle asked, while you're kind of flipping through those, when wholesaling virtually, do you recommend having a local phone number when calling agents? I don't see it as a necessity. At some point when you have a team and like you're really diving into that particular market and you've got multiple people, maybe you want to have a phone system that is in that area. But for me, I call all of my markets and I do it all from Colorado. And I want that because ultimately they start to think of me as, oh yeah, Colorado Corey. Yeah, she buys all over the place. Or I'll tell them about my chickens, or like, you don't have to pretend you're there. You just have to be you wherever you are.
So where are we at on the ARV in this one? What are you thinking?
Did you click in investor only?
Oh no. Let me reset this.
Just to hopefully narrow it down a little bit, because there's a lot going on. But Cassandra said something like very important, that this one might be a wood frame, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, it looks
and
like it.
We've got to find a wood frame comp.
So here's all that investor activity in the area.
Well, yeah, will you click on that first one that has a lower ARV, but that might be because it's a wood frame. So let's see if it is.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like most of the stuff in this neighborhood is wood.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm very curious what asking is on this one, because
it's off market.
So much. I know. I can't know unless I'm talking to wherever Cassandra got this lead.
Yeah.
I just off like looking at this, I'm guessing I probably want to be close to that 282 number in my buy price, or where I'm at least pushing it. Because if I definitely need to stay below 300, where's our 410 that we liked so much? Is it still here?
It was 405.
405. Oh, I already bumped it up in my head. Yeah. Added a bedroom and put it at
410. That's true. Like that's what you do. You guys, your adjustments, they work for you and sometimes they work against you. But in this case, the adjustment would bump this up since this property has one fewer bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially 415, 420 on this one.
And they purchased it around 234, which actually I do see a lot of 250 buy prices. So depending on what number they're coming to me with ask and how I want to negotiate that, I would put 415 as my ARV. I would try to purchase it about 230 so that I could push around 250 to get my buyer feedback.
Got it.
Bang, bang, boom.
Okay. Very good. This looks like a good one. It's a nice area, lots of comps, lots of investor activity. You can see how much easier it is, you guys, to determine the after repair value when a lot of your comps are flipped. If you don't have flipped comps, you literally cannot prove after repair value. It makes your MAO almost impossible to calculate. And you're certainly not going to be able to prove to a buyer what this thing is worth if you don't have flipped comps. So that's why we target these areas, because we want the scenario where our subject property has flipped properties as comparables. It makes everything so much easier.
Absolutely. Let's go to South Carolina, because that's the place I have never comped before, and I like a challenge.
Okay. Let's try it. We do have some direct to MLS data in South Carolina now, but we'll see if this property happens to be in one of those areas.
All right. It's 138 Trent Drive. Taylor's. There it goes. That first one. Y'all, that's funny because in Florida where we just were, the Privy agent that popped up, that's Mia Smith. She's in the Astro fam. It's just fun.
Oh, Mia's cool. Yeah, I know Mia.
Mia's very cool. She knows what's going on in Miami. Always does.
All right. So here's the solds. So we do have awesome. That's GGAR. That's the MLS for this area. So we've got direct to MLS in this market for South Carolina. Looks like this one's off market.
Nice.
And let's look at see if we can find any investor activity. Nothing's jumping out at us right out of the gates as being a potential flip. But I will reset this.
Good. See what we get.
Yeah, there's one flip that we can find in here. Which is the one. It's 2400 43, but it's too big to be a comp. for us.
Can we go further out? Sometimes in the Midwest, you can get away with a bigger radius because it's all the same until you hit that highway.
Yeah. So I'm going to adjust this. So I'm going to increase this to 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to change the comp radius to a mile right here. So you guys, in the past, you had to come in and draw the comp zone larger, but now you can just adjust the radius right here. We're going to go a little further out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if we sort by distance here, so you can sort any of these columns by clicking the column header. And here's some of those prices, but nothing's jumping out as like an obvious flip.
Then let's just try to understand retail value in the area. For now, we can kind of set that as a potential ARV. But personally, for my business and in this scenario, I would do I kind of consider it a reverse wholesaling method. And I will call that buyer that did the bigger flip. And I'll ask, hey, are you ever interested in a smaller flip in the area?
Yeah.
And try to get their understanding of their experience. And then this is the real kicker. Awesome. Are you the only flipper around here? And dead silent after I ask that question, because they'll tell you the honest truth. Oh yeah, I'm the only one. Or no, I go to this meetup every Wednesday. Oh, you do? What meetup is that? And you can get into whatever that world is of particular buyers if you're not seeing them here immediately. So that's probably what I would do in this situation, is start by calling that buyer to understand what they want, and then make sure that this is purchased within that buy box.
Right.
I just saw the question on what do I use to make calls. I use my handy dandy cell phone that has, as you can see, it's dirty. And I put it on a stand sometimes so I can just poke at it instead of have to hold it. I'm very
you don't have to get all crazy with dialers and extra costs. Like, you've already got a phone that you're paying for, use it. But that also goes back to what that other person was saying earlier, which is thinking that you have to have a local number. And that's when people will go get, dialers and they'll do it that way. But you can just use your own phone.
I'm really glad they asked this question, because it brings something to mind that I've seen a lot of new wholesalers just trip up on. And that's the idea that you have to build it before they come. And that's just not the case. It's actually the exact opposite. It's more about getting the relationships first, and then you can build whatever you want out of it. But if you're sitting there going, but what is my logo going to look like? And what is my dialer going to look like? And those kinds of questions, it's creative avoidance of doing the hard thing, which is pressing green button dial.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Creative avoidance.
Oh, I'm good at that in life. Finding all these things, maybe laundry should be done today. It's like,
oh, absolutely. Get chickens, and then you can creatively avoid everything in your life.
Oh yeah.
The chickens need something. Just off like a glance, because we only have a minute left, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I'm seeing plenty of things to back up the 295, 285 as where things are selling in a retail world. Of course, I want to know, what were the finishes like that would get you to 295. But just between those things, like 3 2s are selling around 295. That looks like a really nice one. Flipped quality, not new cabinets, but
the cabinets are original flooring, but they did put new countertops down. Like this one, they're still leaving room to push this thing up, and all they did is just make it look nice.
Yeah.
Old bathroom. So realistically, an ARV on a house that we're looking at here could be, 350 fixed up, right?
If I don't see a 350 sale in the area, then I will not go there. I won't just like
Yeah.
push myself up into the 350s. Actually, on the call last night, Jamil, straight from him, I wrote it down because I was like, I didn't know that. He said when he sees the biggest house in the area on the block, he'll take the highest sale and then he'll add 10%.
Mm.
It's good
And
knowledge.
to estimate what it might be worth if it was fixed up.
Yeah, because I mean, that was a nice fix up. And what I don't want to do is make finishes that are above a neighborhood. Like you don't want to have the nicest house on the block. You want to be kind of aligned with everybody else
Yeah.
as to what's actually selling. So yeah, that's good rules to keep in mind in this situation. Start getting buyers here and let them tell you how you can wholesale this to them, because they're not taking the time to get these numbers and do that. They just know what they want.
Yeah.
I can't remember who had this one, but guys, it is 2:01 already. If you don't have Privy, I suggest you grab it. And we've got that promo code of DAMG that's going to get you the 30% off annual, 20% off first month if you go that route. But guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us show you what markets you want to be in. I actually need right now, before we go, I need everybody to type me, what markets are you interested in? Because I want to bring you some guests that are absolutely the best in that market. So go ahead, tell me what. And then Benson, you got any last words before we say bye to our friends?
No, I really liked today. I thought it was cool. It had a good flow to it. We were just kind of like helping people out. We comped some properties, deals they're working on. You went through the kind of the process. We got to talk to an agent. We got to check out some new markets. So you guys, thank you for those, and appreciate everybody participating too, because if it was just crickets from you guys, we would have had no properties to comp or no markets to look at. So that's why the Astro community is so great, is because people contribute, and we contribute to these groups, but also to each other. Like squad up, find people that you can work with, find boots on the ground, refer lenders and inspectors, and just work together.
It's going to get you there faster. It's an absolute fact. Thank you, everybody, for dropping where you're interested. We're looking forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place, same link.